It began with a flicker, small enough to ignore, yet wrong enough to send shivers through the void. The sensor logs labeled it a spatial glitch, 0.02 seconds of gravitational disruption, followed by an unexplained cold spike. No energy surge. No debris. No radiation. Just absence. At first, no one paid attention. The Galactic Council's border scans picked up countless anomalies daily, drifting wrecks, unstable wormholes, decaying satellites. But this was different. This persisted. It repeated. Identical distortions, spaced precisely 47 hours apart. A junior technician on Relay Station 12 flagged the anomaly for review. She didn't understand it, only that it shouldn't exist. Her superior dismissed it. But the data kept coming. Each pulse was stronger, colder, more defined. Eventually, the pattern drew the attention of the Council's High Signal Analysis Division. They opened an inquiry. Quiet. Internal. Buried under bureaucratic layers. But fear crept in anyway. Because somewhere, deep in the memory of elder races, this pattern was familiar. The Thalcor archivists were the first to speak. Ancient. Cautious. They offered a name not heard in 5 centuries: humanity. It was spoken like a myth, a warning cloaked in time. Most dismissed it immediately. Humans were gone. Vanished. Centuries without transmission, without ships, without movement. Exiled beyond charted space after what the Council deemed incompatibility with galactic harmony. In truth, humanity had not been defeated. No war had ended their presence. The Council had tried peace. Then intimidation. Then threats. None had worked. The humans refused to integrate. Not because they were primitive, but because they saw the cracks in the Council's structure. They called it fragile. Corrupt. Condescending. So the Council issued an exile edict. They expected resistance, protests, maybe retaliation. But none came. Humanity simply left. Silently. Voluntarily. Without a trace. At first, it was taken as submission. A win. The galaxy moved on. But those who remembered the Terran warships, black, angular, terrifyingly efficient, felt something else: unease. The humans didn't rage. They didn't beg. They didn't negotiate. They just disappeared into the void, their ships like shadows swallowed by deeper darkness. Now, 500 years later, something was stirring in that same darkness. The Council met in closed session. An emergency assembly. Projections filled the chamber. Maps marked with the anomaly's path. It was moving. Slowly, precisely, on a course that led straight toward the border system of Calrith 9. A dead system. No colonies. No trade routes. No value. But the anomaly was heading there with purpose. Councilors debated furiously. Was it a rogue AI? A malfunctioning stealth vessel? Some even whispered about an ancient enemy, or an unknown cosmic event. But only one word, spoken quietly, cut through the noise. Terrans. The room fell silent. Councillor Virax of the Kelry Compact stood tall. The Terrans are extinct, he snapped. They exiled themselves into the void. If this is their doing, it is a violation of the Exile Accord. One that will not be tolerated. Councillor Lorema of the Thalcor replied calmly. If it is them, Virax, you misunderstand the terms. The Exile Accord was not forced upon them. It was accepted by them. Willingly. That should worry us. The debate spiraled again. Threat analysis was initiated. Theories built, debunked, rebuilt. Meanwhile, more data came in. The anomaly now spanned several hundred kilometers. Within it, scans detected gravitational warping consistent with a massive mass signature, dense, compact, and cloaked. The term, void ghost, began circulating in internal memos. And then came the first visual fragment. A probe launched near the anomaly returned only one corrupted image before it went dark. Just a silhouette, caught in a frame of static, a hulking mass, geometric and crude in design. No lights. No markings visible. But behind the haze, something was etched in rusted hull plating. TSV Banshee. That was all it took. Council historians confirmed the designation. The Terran space vessel Banshee had been commissioned 540 years ago. A prototype stealth dreadnought, rumored to have never launched. Records said the project was decommissioned. But records, it now seemed, could lie. Panic whispered between Council species. Rumors spread faster than containment protocols could suppress them. Was humanity returning? If so, why now? And in what condition? Analysts noted the Banshee's apparent degradation. Its hull was weathered, scarred, yet intact. It had no visible drive flare. No active signal. No beacon. But it moved, slowly and with purpose. And wherever it went, communications broke. Sensors failed. Space trembled. A single phrase was pulled from the Banshee's old technical logs, now circulating like prophecy. Asterisk. In silence we strike. In darkness we endure. In memory we reclaim. Asterisk. No one knew if that was doctrine or fiction. But it fit. Citizens across several inner systems began stockpiling. Trade routes paused. Military patrols were rerouted. Every time the anomaly changed course, entire planetary economies adjusted in terror. Not because a war had begun, but because no one understood the shape of what might come. And in the center of it all, the anomaly moved forward. Silent. Cold. Cloaked in darkness. Waiting. The Council's internal networks pulsed with controlled panic. Classified threads, encrypted communiques, and urgent requests for suppression orders surged through diplomatic channels. Yet despite their efforts, the term, Terran anomaly, had already leaked. It didn't matter that it wasn't confirmed. The idea alone was enough to ignite fear. And ridicule. Within hours, factions formed. The younger species, the Zelvanti, the Run, and others who had never seen a Terran, dismissed it as paranoia. They mocked the old stories, called them exaggerations, outdated propaganda designed to justify the exile of a difficult species. To them, the humans were myths in armor. The older races, the ones who had sat across from human diplomats, fought beside or against human soldiers, or studied the footage of Earth's final transmission, remained silent. They did not laugh. They had seen the Terrans withdraw from the galactic stage not with desperation, but with calculation. As if they knew they would return. A scouting mission was ordered. Small, discreet, and politically safe. One ship from the Council's second observation fleet, the SCS Vorton's Spear. Its captain, Jorlin Devek, was a career officer, decorated and loyal. In his briefing, he was told only this: investigate the anomaly, determine its nature, and report immediately. No engagement. No contact. Devek took it as a joke. His crew did too. They joked about ghost ships and mythological war beasts hiding in nebulas. One junior technician wore a mock Terran Hunter badge on his jumpsuit. They launched with confidence and casual arrogance, secure in the belief that they were studying a gravitational glitch or some cloaked smuggler tech gone rogue. They reached the edge of the distortion zone in less than 12 hours. All standard procedures were followed. Long-range scans, deep-layer sensor sweeps, even quantum resonance pings. Nothing returned. No feedback. Just emptiness. Then the lights dimmed. Not from power failure, but as if the stars themselves faded. External cameras captured nothing but void. Navigation stopped working. Artificial gravity fluctuated. The crew scrambled, thinking it was an attack. But no alarms triggered. No hull breaches. No targeting warnings. Just cold. The last log from the Vorton's Spear was exactly 3.1 seconds long. It transmitted a single frame of distorted visual data. Analysts enhanced it, filtered it through quantum deblurring algorithms, and found something horrifying. A shape, massive, angular, looming behind the scout ship. Not approaching. Not attacking. Just present. Its hull was unlit, its form shadow-like, almost untraceable. But along one fractured panel, a distinct human character glowed faint red, as if burned into the plating. TSV Banshee. Then the signal ended. No explosion. No escape pods. No radiation burst. Just silence. The Vorten's spear was declared lost. Officially, ion storm accident. Unofficially, first contact with something ancient and dangerous. The council classified the footage within minutes, but it was too late. The image spread through black market channels. Within a day, millions had seen it. Speculation exploded. Some claimed it was a Terran relic, abandoned and reactivated. Others believed it was an AI vessel, still carrying out instructions centuries later. A few whispered darker theories, that humans had never left, only gone dark, evolving in secret into something the galaxy couldn't comprehend. The council tried to suppress the hysteria. State media emphasized the low probability of Terran involvement. Analysts were pushed to release statements framing the Banshee as an uncrewed artifact, if real at all. But none of it worked. The fear was already growing. The term, Shadow-class warship, began to circulate. It wasn't an official designation. It came from a civilian analyst who noted that the Banshee didn't match any known Terran classification. She theorized it was a post-exile evolution, something built not to fight, but to erase. A ghost ship, built by a species that had mastered war, then mastered absence. The phrase caught fire. Shadow class. Not because it resembled a shadow, but because it moved like one, undetected, untouchable, undeniable once seen. The Council's Security Directorate escalated the matter. The 7th Strategic Armada was deployed, led by the flagship CSS Orion Ascendant, equipped with phased shielding, anti-cloak lattice arrays, and the galaxy's most advanced sentient combat algorithms. 70 ships in total. It was not a full war fleet, but enough to send a message. The Orion Ascendant's Admiral, Kelver Droz, was briefed under Level 9 clearance. He was shown the original human war doctrines, declassified only for him. He studied the Banshee's old blueprint. Read the final reports from the Terran exile era. And still, he doubted. Ships don't survive 5 centuries of deep space decay. Civilizations don't vanish into silence and return stronger. That was legend, not reality. They jumped into the anomaly sector 5 days later. There was nothing. The distortion field was gone. No readings. No signals. Only the cold emptiness of deep space. Droz ordered full formation scans. Ships formed perimeter nets, launched sensor drones, initiated full-spectrum sweeps. Still nothing. Then, quietly, ships began to go dark. No alarms. No visuals. Just silence. The CSS Valor's reach vanished first. One moment it was in formation. The next, nothing. Not even wreckage. Then the Pearl 9 disappeared. Then the YRR Nexus. Droz screamed for full retreat. That's when the message arrived. Not on standard communication bands. Not as a hail. It arrived directly inside every ship's onboard systems. Text, audio, and visual formats. Simple. Precise. Transmission begins. You are trespassing. This zone is under Terran reclamation. Leave, or be reclaimed. No signature. No demand. No option for reply. Droz tried to respond anyway. He ordered all ships to broadcast peaceful intent. Sent old council codes. Referenced ancient treaties. Nothing came back. But on every console screen, the same response appeared, typed in old Terran formatting. Acknowledged. Intent logged. Retaliation not required. Correction in progress. 3 more ships vanished. Droz gave the order to retreat. The fleet turned and fled at maximum warp. No pursuit followed. No weapons fired. But when the fleet regrouped 3 systems away, they found their long-range comms corrupted, their NAV charts subtly altered. Each ship was now marked with a single glyph encoded into their systems, a red, angular T overlaid with an hourglass. A Terran symbol. New. Unfamiliar. But clear. The message was undeniable. Humanity had returned. Not with a roar, but with the silence of inevitability. The logs from the fleet's failed encounter were dissected by every analyst the Council could spare. Engineers, war historians, AI tacticians, none could explain what had happened. No energy spikes. No attack signals. No debris fields. Yet 17 ships had vanished. Their disappearance wasn't destruction, it was deletion. The only clues came from corrupted memory sectors and fragmented frame captures. Each fragment showed only one thing, an impossible ship. Jagged, immense, colorless against the void. It wasn't elegant like Council cruisers or sleek like Run scouts. It was brutalist, raw and deliberate. Hull plating blackened by centuries of drift. Armor layers fused with strange lattice patterns designed not for deflection, but absorption. And etched across its underbelly in massive, rusted letters, partially obscured by age and scarring, TSV Banshee. But it didn't match any known Terran design. The original Banshee was supposed to be a stealth prototype, roughly a kilometer long. This vessel was 5 times that. The core superstructure was surrounded by what appeared to be modular extensions, weapon spires, gravitic stabilizers, and dormant thruster arrays layered with angular shielding. Terran insignias were visible in several locations, burned into the ship's frame as if branded there. Some were old, symbols of the Earth Union, the Terran sovereignty, even independent colony emblems once thought long lost. Each bore names of dead colonies, massacred outposts, and forgotten battles. Analysts debated, was the Banshee rebuilt using parts from lost ships? Or had it been growing all these years, consuming wreckage and forgotten tech in the void? Sensor data suggested the ship had no reactor signature. No heat trail. No FTL wake. It moved without propulsion, as if space itself bent around it. Some theorized an onboard singularity engine. Others feared something worse, controlled space-time shearing, an advancement beyond theoretical physics. When specialists attempted to triangulate its location again, they found that it was already gone. It had moved, but without any measurable travel. No warp bubble. No light distortion. It simply wasn't there anymore. Then came the ripple. A gravitational echo, like a displaced wake, appeared 50 light minutes away. The Banshee had shifted positions without crossing the space between. The act violated every known law of FTL movement. Emergency meetings were called. No longer behind closed doors. The Council could not contain the information any longer. Now planetary leaders demanded answers. Citizens demanded protection. All anyone had was fear, and a growing realization that the humans hadn't just returned. They had evolved. Strategic simulations were run across all major defense AIs. Each run ended the same. If the Terrans had more than 3 vessels like the Banshee, no combined fleet could stop them. Not through force. Not through numbers. Not through strategy. Because Terran warfare was never based on domination. It was annihilation with surgical precision. The AI simulations labeled it Threat Omega, a class reserved for extinction-level possibilities. The Council debated contacting the Terrans, sending a delegation, offering peace, apologies, reparations. But to who? There were no embassies, no channels, no diplomats. Just a single ghost ship tearing holes in sensor networks and deleting military formations without effort. Then the second transmission came. Not a threat. Not even a warning. A cold, clinical data burst to all Council-controlled comm arrays. Designation, TSV Banshee. Operational status, active. Reclamation Directive 1A initiated. Attached was a list. Names of systems. Planets. Outposts. Every one of them once had Terran colonies, civilian research stations, or military assets before exile. Many had since been resettled by other species. Some had been strip-mined. Others terraformed. The implication was clear. Humanity was reclaiming what was theirs. No debates followed. The panic shifted from theory to preparation. A full wartime mobilization was declared. Fleets were recalled from border skirmishes. Armament manufacturing accelerated. Independent systems were warned to prepare for emergency defense or evacuation. But it was already too late. Without a single battle, dozens of systems went dark. Trade lanes collapsed. Minor species began surrendering their systems preemptively, hoping to avoid the fate of the Orion Task Force. One by one, Terran beacons began appearing. Not broadcasted. Embedded into the fabric of space-time itself, using phased gravitic imprints that no current technology could replicate or erase. Each beacon bore the same message. System under reclamation. Terran presence verified. Interference constitutes hostile action. No ship. No fleet. Just a message, and silence. And then, anomalies began appearing not just near old colonies, but within core council systems. One occurred outside Calroth Prime, the Kelry homeworld. Sensors glitched. Gravity dipped. Long-range scans flickered. By the time orbital platforms recovered, a single massive object had passed through the system's edge, moving in absolute silence. No conflict occurred. No weapon was fired. But the message left behind was clear. Humanity had access to every region of space. No wall could hold them. No force could stop them. Security doctrine shattered. Military planners began resigning. Strategic AI systems began failing to generate feasible defense plans. Council morale disintegrated. An independent xenohistorian named Saren Malvik published a now infamous thesis titled The Myth of Human Mercy. In it, she argued that the greatest mistake the galaxy made wasn't underestimating Terran technology. It was assuming humans desired peace. She quoted a fragment recovered from an old Terran manifesto written during the final days before their exile. You call us violent because we don't kneel. You call us dangerous because we prepare for what you deny. But we do not build weapons for conquest. We build them for memory. Because we remember what was taken, what was denied, and who turned away. That manifesto ended with a phrase now echoed in whispers across the stars. We never stopped watching. We only stopped speaking. The Banshee became more than a ship. It became a symbol. Of reckoning. Of consequence. Of the price of arrogance. And though no one could confirm how many such ships existed, the fear remained the same. If one had survived, others could too. And if others returned, nothing would be untouched. The Council's final attempt at diplomacy came not from strength, but desperation. A transmission, signed by all major species, was broadcast into every known Terran-aligned sector. It acknowledged past wrongs. It offered reparations. It extended a request for dialogue under ancient neutrality accords. It was carefully worded, layered with humility and historical context. It was ignored. 12 hours later, the Banshee appeared in high orbit over Ventari 3, a resettled Terran colony now controlled by the Council. No warning. No demands. Just presence. A planetary defense grid activated instantly. Hundreds of automated turrets locked on. Dozens of orbital ships formed a blockade. The order was simple: fire on sight. But no weapon discharged. Targeting systems failed. Guidance networks scrambled. Visual confirmation flickered. Crew members aboard the blockade ships reported feelings of dread, pressure in their skulls, and auditory hallucinations, whispers in dead Terran languages. Within seconds, every system linked to the defense grid crashed simultaneously. Entire command nodes went dark. Then came the voice. One signal, translated into every language, broadcast not through communication channels but injected into neural implants, sensory devices, and even biological cybernetics. You were warned. This world is ours. No fleet arrived. No ground forces deployed. The Banshee hovered, and the reclamation began. Terran markers blinked into existence across Ventari 3's surface. Orbital phase stamps so advanced they bypassed matter entirely and embedded directly into planetary substructure. Council leadership ordered a retaliatory strike. A new fleet, built with multi-layered failsafes, AI war-bonded captains, and quantum-triggered weapons, launched under direct command of Supreme Admiral Dren Violek. His orders were clear: engage, subdue, and if necessary, annihilate the Terran vessel. The fleet arrived 2 hours later. They did not find the Banshee alone. A second vessel had joined it. Larger. Unnamed. No designation. Its shape defied geometric convention, part warship, part structure, part unknown. Analysts later said it resembled the architectural style of pre-exile Martian forges. Others insisted it was alive. Before Violek could issue orders, his command deck went cold. His augmented vision systems went blind. His thoughts, partially stabilized by cognitive syncnet, fractured. The ship's onboard AI screamed once before going silent. And then the signal came. Transmission begins. This system falls under Protocol Omega. Reclamation irrevocable. Resistance classified as hostile. No further warnings will be issued. Violek ordered all ships to fire. The fleet obeyed. Missiles, beams, graviton warheads, every weapon fired. The void lit up in lightless flames. Then nothing. No impact. No feedback. The Terran ships remained. Then the retaliation began. It wasn't a barrage. It wasn't an assault. It was precision. The nearest ship, gone in a blink, erased mid-maneuver. The next imploded from within as its core was torn from phase. Another folded into itself as space bent unnaturally. 23 ships lost in under a minute. The rest tried to flee. The Banshee didn't pursue. It simply spoke. Reclamation proceeding. Council analysts reviewing the battle data later confirmed the horrifying truth. Terran ships hadn't simply destroyed the fleet. They had predicted every move before it happened. Not with faster sensors, but with behavioral modeling. Their systems had mapped the fleet's AI decision trees and countered them before the enemy even committed to action. It was no longer warfare. It was computation. A chess game the Council had already lost. The second Terran vessel activated after the battle. Its presence caused time distortions across Ventari 3. Hours passed in seconds. Days compressed into moments. When the anomaly stabilized, the planet had changed. Entire cities disappeared. Council settlements were gone, replaced with Terran arcologies, massive vertical habitats, perfectly integrated with local terrain and climate. Terraforming algorithms had rewritten the biosphere without harming native life. But every trace of non-Terran presence was erased. The message was clear. The reclamation was not conquest. It was return. Across the galaxy, similar events occurred. Systems on the reclamation list went dark one by one. Not all faced destruction. In some cases, Terran vessels appeared, dropped markers, and left. In others, they dismantled orbital structures atom by atom and vanished. No explanation. No negotiation. But when resistance came, it was met with silence, and then obliteration. Several species considered surrendering preemptively. Not to save themselves, but in hopes of being spared entirely. But no response ever came from attempts to contact the Terrans. The pattern became obvious. If a system had Terran history, it would be taken. If it didn't, it would be ignored. Council military leaders, realizing the futility of opposition, began defecting. A rogue admiral transmitted decades-old Terran peace offers to known Terran space, begging for communication. His ship was found adrift, every crew member unconscious, their memories scrambled. The message was never acknowledged. Across Council media, panic gave way to superstition. Citizens spoke of human ghosts, planet reapers, and space-dwelling machines from Earth's forgotten past. Children were told bedtime stories to stay silent at night or the Banshee would come. And still, no official war was declared. The Terrans had made no claim to power. No declaration of sovereignty. They didn't demand tribute or impose rule. They simply took back what had once been theirs. And every act was done with precision. With discipline. With purpose. As if they had planned it all along. Ventari 3 never recovered. The remaining Council worlds watched in silence as the system faded from official charts, overwritten by Terran codex markers that no AI could decrypt. Attempts to scan the system returned only static. Patrols sent to investigate vanished without a trace. Eventually, the Council declared the region non-navigable, a quiet admission of defeat wrapped in bureaucratic language. Then came the next list. 25 systems. All previously Terran-controlled. All now scheduled for reclamation. The pattern was undeniable. No attempt was made to open dialogue. No treaty proposed. Just a data burst containing locations, timestamps, and the same phrase repeated at the end. This is not war. This is restoration. The Council scrambled to respond. Diplomats drafted a unified address, delivered across every known Terran frequency. It offered everything: shared governance, reparations, full political sovereignty, even unrestricted access to all Council tech archives. In return, they asked only for clarity. They wanted to know what humanity wanted. They received one reply. It wasn't even in audio. It was a feed, grainy, colorless footage from 487 years ago. It showed a small Terran colony being abandoned by Council ships after a pirate raid. Civilians screaming for help, ignored. Children hiding under burning buildings. A final transmission from a Terran medic. We asked for aid. You turned your backs. Then came a still image. A plaque once placed on Earth's final diplomatic station, now cracked and rusted. Asterisk. In peace, unity. In conflict, mercy. In silence, memory. Asterisk. That was all. No further messages followed. No formal response. Just the cold, calculated continuation of the reclamation. Entire species began evacuating preemptively. Worlds that once boasted about replacing Terran colonies now burned their own records, destroyed infrastructure, and fled before Terran vessels arrived. In many cases, no ship ever came. The humans didn't need to enforce fear. The memory of their silence did the work for them. Then the Banshee appeared again. This time above the Council capital system's edge. Not an attack, just presence. Static filled the air. Communications dropped. Defense grids faltered. The Council assembled in full session for the first time in centuries. One last envoy was sent. Not a fleet, not a diplomat, but a simple data probe. It carried a request. Not for peace. Not for forgiveness. But for understanding. The Terrans answered in a message etched directly into the probe's internal memory, bypassing all encryption. You asked why now? Because we waited. We watched. We learned. And we saw that nothing changed. The message continued. You believe we want revenge. We do not. You believe we want power. We do not. You believe we want recognition. We already have it. What we want is what you denied: closure. And then the final words. There will be no war. There will be no negotiations. There will only be balance. You took. We remember. And now we return. Shortly after, hundreds of Terran ships blinked into known space. Each entered reclamation zones, issued a single warning, and proceeded. They bypassed resistance, erased interference, and reconstructed lost infrastructure with terrifying speed and silence. Each world was transformed into Terran habitats, memory vaults, or restricted ecological preserves. They didn't just reclaim. They rebuilt. On a fringe system called Theras 7, a surviving Council ambassador recorded a message before self-imposed exile. We thought them gone. We thought them broken. But the humans were not erased. They were waiting. They were preparing. And now they do not speak, they act. And in their silence, we finally hear them. The ambassador's final words were choked in despair. We judged them for their rage. But it was not rage we should have feared, it was their patience. The Council fractured soon after. Member species resigned. Borders collapsed. The old galactic order that had stood for millennia began to dissolve, not through battle or conquest, but through obsolescence. No further Terran messages were received. Their ships ceased appearing. The reclamation list ended. The systems they claimed remained untouched by time, veiled in distortion fields and automated sentries. Humanity did not ask for dominion. They simply drew a line, and dared the galaxy to cross it again. The message echoed in every ruined war room, every abandoned listening post, every empty Senate hall. Asterisk. We never left. We simply stopped announcing our presence. Asterisk. And that truth reshaped the stars.